All right, let's dive right into one of the biggest questions of our time. AI versus the human brain. Who comes out on top? Is one really smarter? Well, you're about to find out that the answer is way more interesting than a simple yes or no.
So let's kick things off with a real head-scratcher. An AI can absolutely demolish a chess grandmaster, a game that takes incredible strategic thinking. But that very same super-intelligent AI would be totally stumped by something a 5-year-old can do, like tying a shoelace. How does that make any sense? This little paradox is really at the heart of what intelligence even means.
To unravel this puzzle, we actually need to look at how our brains became, well, our brains. It's a story about some really old hardware learning a few very new tricks.
And believe it or not, this whole phenomenon has a name. It's called Moravic's paradox. It's this weird upside-down observation that the stuff that's easy for us, like, seeing a friend's face in a crowd or just walking across a room, is mind-bogglingly hard for a computer. But the things we find hard, like advanced math or pure logic, that's an absolute walk in the park for a machine.
The AI researcher Hans Moravec, the guy who it's named after, he put it perfectly. He said our ability to reason is just a thin veneer, just a tiny little layer on top. The real power, the heavy lifting, that's all done by the ancient, powerful parts of our brain that handle just seeing, feeling, and moving.
Let's put this on a timeline, because it's pretty wild. For more than 1 billion years, evolution has been perfecting our ability to sense and move. That's why it feels so effortless. It's been optimized for eons. But abstract thought? That's a brand new app we just downloaded, like maybe 100,000 years ago. It's a new trick, and honestly, we're still figuring it out, which is why it feels so difficult. So, because of that huge evolutionary gap, you end up with fundamentally different kinds of minds. Now we can get into a real direct comparison, silicon versus carbon. And I love this analogy. Just think of the human brain as a Prius. It's unbelievably efficient. A large language model, on the other hand, that's a freight train. Yeah, it's got immense power, but man, is it thirsty for energy.
And when I say efficient, I mean it. Get this. Your brain runs on about 20 watts of power. 20! That is less than a dim light bulb. An AI system with comparable brain power could need enough electricity to power a whole neighborhood. The difference is just staggering.
This huge difference also shows up in how we learn. We humans are amazing at using analogies. You can learn one lesson from one experience and apply it to something completely different. AI, though, typically needs something called transfer learning. It's powerful for sure, but it needs to be fed these massive, gigantic data sets for one specific task, and it really struggles to take that knowledge and apply it to something totally new and unrelated.
And that leads us to some of the really core gaps in AI right now. AI can generate things that look creative, but it doesn't have the lived experiences or the emotions that are the real spark of human creativity. It can simulate understanding emotion, but it doesn't actually feel empathy. It has no self-awareness, and it gets really tripped up by common sense reasoning and those messy, gray areas of morality.
Okay, but before we get too comfortable on our high horse, let's be real. Human intelligence is, well, it's pretty far from perfect. It's time to flip the camera around and take a hard look at our own built-in glitches. See, every single one of us runs on a system full of cognitive biases. These are basically hardwired mental shortcuts. They're glitches in our thinking that skew how we see the world, and they often lead us to make some pretty bad decisions, usually without us having a clue that it's even happening. And there isn't just one or two. Oh no. Researchers have found over 200 of them. The craziest part is we're almost completely blind to our own biases. It means that our famous gut feeling or human intuition can be surprisingly and sometimes dangerously unreliable. And this right here is why a partnership with AI could be such a game changer.
So you see, this isn't really a story about competition at all. It's about collaboration. The future isn't about AI replacing us, it's about us forging a new, symbiotic relationship with it.
The big takeaway, the one thing to remember, is this. We need to stop framing this as AI versus humans. The real revolution, the incredible future, is AI plus humans.
And this chart just lays it out so perfectly. Look at medicine. An AI can scan thousands of medical images in seconds, spotting patterns a human doctor might miss. But you need the human doctor to talk to the patient with empathy, to interpret the results and make that final treatment call. Or in finance, AI can crunch market data at lightning speed, but a human applies strategic thought. It's the perfect partnership.
So let's just say it one more time, loud and clear. AI is not a substitute for human intelligence. It's a complement. It's a tool that fills in our gaps, that can help check our biases, and that can handle the massive-scale logical tasks our brains just weren't built for.
And that leaves us with a final, really powerful thought. If AI can be the tool that helps us overcome our own mental limitations, and we can provide the purpose, the creativity, and the moral compass to guide it, well, what problems that seem impossible today might suddenly become solvable tomorrow? Think about that. Thanks for tuning in.